you're waiting for the day that the ducks start to arrive. You're like, well, maybe tomorrow they'll arrive.
It's not a cage. You can't tie a rope to their feet. I mean, one day they're here and one day they're not.
And the day they finally arrive, you're just jumping for joy, like, let's go, I'm ready to go hunt some ducks.
You know, people think duck season ends and it's over, and it's not.
It's just rewarding to see them come into what you created and enjoy it, and it helps them out in their travel across this country.
Beautiful. Get 'em.
Ducks Unlimited Television is presented by Drake Waterfowl Systems, innovators in waterfowl hunting.
Greetings from Ducks Unlimited TV. I'm Ashley Horvitz. The Texas Middle Coast Prairie is a historic waterfowl hunting location. Places like Eagle Lake and El Campo are well known for both fantastic hunting and warm southern hospitality. In this episode, I joined the crew once again at the Thunderbird Hunting Club located just north of Bay City, Texas. We enjoy fast and furious action for the mixed bag of ducks the Texas coast is famous for. I've been here before and can't wait to go back again. See it all next on DUTV. You know, coming back here to this whole Thunderbird Hunting Club community, you know, they've got so many wonderful places here that's a part of this actual hunting club.
The property here is very unique in the fact that you have tidal marsh, and then you have a lot of freshwater emergent wetlands out here on the property that DU has participated with over the last 15 years in developing the landscape and developing these ponds.
And being able to come back here just 2 years later after been in teal season and doing a little gator hunt, you know, is very nostalgic, and it just really kind of took me down memory lane.
That's crazy or what?
Oh, wow.
Yes, girl. Beautiful.
So it was so fun to get to see Hunter and Forrest again. You know, they've grown so much, and they've grown to be such wonderful young men who are passionate about the outdoors, who are passionate about conservation and hunting and fishing, and just really kind of carrying on this legacy that their dad has built.
Growing up as a kid, Dad would always bring us out to the blind. Even though we barely could walk, we'd be drug out in jet sleds to the blind, and probably around 2010 was the first time that I started shooting and shot my first duck, and ever since then I've been hooked, and it's an adrenaline rush is the word to describe how fun and awesome it really is. The most satisfying thing to me is getting to actually see all the work that I've put in to making this habitat, that the members are able to go and enjoy and get to hear their great stories.
Good shot. Good way to start off this morning here in Texas. Finally had two kind of cup in and do it. And we should, you know what we should have done? We should have given it a nickname every time we passed it down. Spoon, Hollywood.
Bootstrap.
Bootstrap, that's a good one.
And I smile just because everyone makes fun of that duck, okay? Yes, it will be a shoveler and teal beatdown tomorrow. I can go ahead and guarantee you that, okay?
Talk about
But
the mother-in-law duck, all mouth.
fantastic.
It's just an amazing feeling to see that we've done something important to the environment that keeps birds and migration patterns keep coming in every season.
Seeing everything evolve from seeing this as raw grass, 7 feet tall, to disking the land, to getting water on it and having nothing. And then one day you show up and there's thousands of birds on the ground. That's like the absolute best thing in the world. I remember going with Todd, like my first year we were partners in 16, and I'm like grabbing him as we're driving. I'm like, dude, there's 500 birds. He goes, oh, it's not very many. And I'm like, that's like awesome. Like, they weren't here yesterday. We made that, and they came. And I was hooked ever since.
Ducks Unlimited Television is presented by Drake Waterfowl Systems, innovators in waterfowl hunting. Mossy Oak Shadow Grass Habitat, the official camo of Ducks Unlimited. Browning Firearms, the best there is. Native Nurseries, hand-selected, hand-grown plants for wildlife. Higdon Outdoors, quality, customer service, innovation, that's Higdon. Mossy Oak Properties, America's land specialist. And Ducks Unlimited celebrates 15 million acres conserved.
My dad's been always passionate with the outdoors. He's fished for most of his life. We got to experience most of it with his outdoor photography contest he's done.
We'd occasionally go out there, get to see what he's doing, and get to see all these different types of animals that we don't see over here on the east side of Texas.
It's gotten me and my brother Forrest pretty passionate in the outdoors. Me loving fishery, and my brother loving like more horticulture and plants.
And that really put the conservation side to me, that there's different aspects to conservation, to making these habitats for different scenarios. And with that drive it put into me, it made me want to take more part in doing it myself.
So I was pretty excited to get in the management process to see different aspects of the club besides just being my dad, just hunting all the time. And it's a great opportunity for me and my brother to learn like management skills with different people and how it works in real life.
And being the age that they are in their early 20s, I mean, you know, that really says a lot about Miss Nancy and Mr. Todd. You know, they've done a great job raising those two.
Keeping up with landowners is very crucial, we believe, in our success. Talking about what plans they would like to see happen with their land and things that we would like to see potentially helping them fund to make their land even better in many different aspects.
With Texas being 95+% privately owned, it's key to work with these landowners on this landscape. We provide a little bit of cost share, but it's more the educational background to once these projects are on the ground, how to manage them, how to take care of them, and working with these landowners one-on-one and various hunt clubs up and down the coast to make sure that it's not just water on the landscape, but it's food, it's the resources these birds need while they're here.
Thunderbird is what got me involved in Ducks Unlimited. I didn't really know what they did, and then I come out here and I see that when you can take what they can offer and you do it the right way. In November, I mean, we're housing 30,000 ducks on these properties on 2,000 acres of water.
This year in 2021, we're celebrating the 30th anniversary of the Texas Prairie Wetlands Project. With over 90,000 acres of wetland habitat being delivered on the landscape, we cover 28 counties and have worked with over 700 individual landowners.
More than 70 biologists have put in, you know, blood, sweat, and tears making this project, you know, what it is today and so successful.
Through this program, we provide survey, design, engineering services to ensure that what we create on the landscape has a lifespan of 10 to 15 plus years.
You know, people think duck season ends and it's over, and it's not. We leave water on these properties until it drains down completely. These landowners work with us. We may have water on these ponds until June or July. So you're driving around in the summer, you're seeing, you know, mottled ducks, you're seeing different types of tree ducks, and they're nesting here. So it's not just about, you know, the ducks that we can hunt. It's all of the different type of birds that come through here, and it's amazing to see.
Back in 1991, Ducks Unlimited, Texas Parks and Wildlife Department, U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, and USDA's Natural Resource Conservation Service all teamed up to create the Texas Prairie Wetlands Project. The primary goal of this initiative was improving survival rates and body condition prior to the spring migration. The Texas Prairie Wetlands Project works with private landowners in 28 counties along the Gulf Coast to achieve this goal. Landowners sign a minimum 10-year agreement committing to maintaining and managing their wetlands. Many landowners utilize the projects beyond providing wintering habitat. They're often leased for hunting and ecotourism. Has it worked? Well, 30 years on, the answer is a resounding yes. Each year, program projects provide critical staging and wintering areas for thousands of ducks and geese, including specklebelly, snow geese, blue and green-winged teal, the great northern shoveler, pintails, gadwalls, and redheads. Breeding populations of resident fulvous and black-bellied whistling ducks, along with mottled ducks, rely on project habitats for nesting and brood rearing in the spring and summer. To find out how you can help with our mission of restoring wetlands habitat across North America, please visit ducks.org.
DU Insights is brought to you by Mossy Oak Properties. Find your favorite place at mossyoakproperties.com.
Working in Texas and working on private lands, every acre is capitalized on just about anything you could imagine, whether it's livestock production, ag production, oil and gas industry, other hunting operations that they may have out there. And so there is a little apprehension at times of how will a wetland project impact those land uses and other income sources that those landowners may have.
The cattle rancher is always at conversation of, if we disc this grass under and we flood it, is a cattle rancher going to be able to have grazing land for his cattle?
We'll leave the water on here as long as we can, and then even if it doesn't drain all the way, you get the best of both worlds. You get a place for the cattle to be able to feed and graze, and then they can also drink. We'll leave some of these just for cattle throughout the year, but they won't stay as large as they are now. They'll go down to a 10-acre pond or something like that, but this will be the most fertile grass on this entire property is in these ponds.
Wow.
And they'll feed here all year long, and they will feed nowhere else. They'll be in this 400 acres that we have flooded here. They'll feed in those ponds all year long.
Right.
You'll see a ton of shorebirds around the fringes of these in the shallower spots, and come another month or two when these birds start migrating back, these ponds will be filled up and the diversity will just blow your mind with what we have. Yeah.
So, we're here in a small town in Texas, a small farming town.
You look at hunting and fishing operations in Texas, we have over 2.7 million hunters and anglers in the state of Texas that bring in over $4.1 billion into the state economy annually. That's a lot of money that goes to mom and pop restaurants, hotel industry. It really supports a huge economy here along the Texas coast from a hunting perspective.
Not only are these ponds built for waterfowl, but there are people that are in our area that is their completely livelihood. We have our maintainer and backhoe guy. He makes his living between duck hunters and farmers, and he is there for the emergency. The leaking levee, the nutria that drilled through the water structure, to throwing up an intermediate levee because the pond's too deep and you need to regulate the levels better. So there's all kind of jobs created just because of these projects.
And I think that people like that because it's not just a job. It's something that's making the land better.
When you put 90,000 acres of wetland habitat back on the landscape, you're storing over 50,000 acre feet of water on the habitat that's not rushing into our river systems, that's not going downstream into our urban setting. Houston, Corpus, areas like that, you're catching that water, slowing it down, preventing flood damage. These wetlands on the landscape help offset or mitigate some of that flooding.
And the fact that, it can create jobs like that and it creates meaningful jobs, I mean, it doesn't really get much better than that.
Thinking is the enemy of good shooting. If you try to think your way through a target or steer your way or aim or take too long to make the shot perfect, you're headed for a miss. There's a really fun drill you can do to help you get out of that mindset and just trust your reactions and shoot. And what you do is you throw a going away target, take two people, throw the bird, both of you try to shoot it. It's a race. And the idea of the race is that once you're not thinking about how do I shoot this bird, you're trying to think about getting to it and shooting it, you start to use your instincts and not your brain. And that's how you should always shoot a shotgun. So even though this isn't a duck hunting shot per se, it's one that can help you hit more ducks because it help you learn not to think, learn to trust your eyes and hands, and just shoot.
Ducks Unlimited's Guns and Gear is brought to you by Tetra Hearing. Built for hunters by hunters. Calls, wings, or triggers, hear the hunt like never before. DUTV is powered by Zink Calls, a champion in every call. Browning Ammunition, the best there is. Biologic, scientifically proven wildlife products. Purina Pro Plan, nutrition that performs. Tetra Hearing, more than hearing protection, it's hearing perfection. Closed captioning for Ducks Unlimited Television is brought to you by Mossy Oak Bottomland, the official timber pattern of Ducks Unlimited.
Hi, I'm Fred Zink with Zink Calls. I want to talk to you about loud calling versus soft calling. Now, I have a soft call on my lanyard and I have a loud call on my lanyard. About 95% of the time I'm blowing my loud duck call. But this particular call is a single reed and it's called the Green Top Rocker. What I love about this call is I can be very, very loud. It's extremely loud duck call, but it's one of the rare loud duck calls that sounds like a real duck even at soft volumes. The break ducks, bring them to you, break them on a blue sky, but when you get close and you're working, understanding inflection, which is the rhythm, and the volume can really dictate how the ducks work towards you. Late season, a lot of times when you get the ducks broke down and they're working around, you need to be a lot softer and a lot more content in order to get those late season ducks to come right in. For more information on Zink Calls, check us out online at zinkcalls.com.
Duck Talk with Fred Zink is powered by Zink Calls, a champion in every call.
You look around when you get a little older and you realize that maybe some of the things you taught, you have to try harder to teach your kids, or like Todd taught his kids, and how they're down here doing their thing.
Since moving on to college, I've gained more ability to have a more flexible schedule, and that's allowed me to be able to step up and be able to help out around here. If that's creating habitat, checking water levels, meeting landowners down here to go over the next year, or if it's meeting a contractor at the lodge, the list goes on and on. I'm able to be flexible and be able to help where I'm needed.
And they're not just running around, but they're actually like starting to, go pull the boards. Like you tell someone to go pull a board, and they're like, what's a board?
You get so wrapped up in, gotta take the kids hunting, we gotta take the kids hunting, we gotta take the kids hunting. But are we also teaching them, how to put out a decoy spread? Are we teaching them about the land that, we're hunting on, and why you're putting boards in, or why you're pumping water, or why you're planting this, or why it's good to maybe drain this hole one year and flood it the next.
And so it's exciting to me to be able to, hear them know what that terminology is, and also starting to name some of the plants. Because if you're not going to get those plants, these birds will never stay. They're here for one reason, and that's the habitat that you provide.
So a big takeaway I've taken stepping up into management is I do have a name on my back and I have a reputation to uphold, and they see that and believe in me. They have trust in you that there'll be vegetation to bring ducks just like last season and repeat year after year. And once you build that trust and they know you can do it, you'll never have to build that bridge.
Talk about being, you know, kind of the close of waterfowl season.
The close of waterfowl season. I think there's always just such this buildup, and especially with duck hunting, you know, it's just this, it's a camaraderie sport. There's just something about sharing a blind with your dad and, you know, your loved ones, you know, your favorite hunting buddy, your dog. And even if it's just one lone greenhead or one lone teal or one lone gadwall or pintail or whatever it is that you're seeing, and something about just that one final pass and watching that retriever go get that bird, it doesn't get better than that. They finally did that. That was worth it. The Texas Prairie Wetlands Project was started by Ducks Unlimited and state partners 30 years ago to maximize the potential of private wetlands for ducks and geese. It's been a resounding success and continues today, providing critical wintering habitat and ensuring the birds are in great shape for the journey north come spring. Thanks again to Todd Steele and Travis Peterson at Thunderbird Hunting Club for another wonderful hunting adventure. The hard work you are doing to enhance and restore Texas Prairie Wetlands is outstanding, and your hospitality is second to none. See you next week on DUTV.
I think he just needs to be a big boy and figure out how to get in his own gate. Okay, so Thunderbird. Ashley, you can't laugh. You can't laugh at my BS.
To enhance and restore Texas Prairie Wetlands is outstanding, and your hospitality is second to none.
You had to emphasize a spoonie. You had to, like, some duck hunters like gonna pay attention. They're like, oh, I caught what he's saying.
Yes, don't put that on the internet. So I tell everybody, don't put that on the internet.